Hello, we're recording live. This is one guy and a bunch of students. Thank you, Malfoy. Lucius Malfoy. You know, you said you don't know. You got to read this Harry Potter stuff. Anyways, we're doing some math coming to you live on recording. Solving ratios. And to solve a ratio problem, all you have to remember is cross multiply, divide by the loan. And I'll show you a few examples. We'll work through a few examples, and then we'll make it work. Okay, so you guys are going to do this with me. When I say cross multiply and divide by the loaner, that only works when you have this fraction equals fraction system, like line equals line. And there's three numbers and one letter, okay, one unknown. When I say cross multiply, I'm meaning the diagonals. So these are the things I'm going to cross multiply. I don't have to show my work. I'm going to just use a calculator and go 2 times 12. And then when I say the loaner, the lone number then is the 3. Why? Because it's not crisscross applesauce. It's not diagonal from the other two. You guys get what I mean by the loaner? It's the one across from the x. It doesn't matter where the x is, top, bottom, whatever. Just to show you, these are the ones diagonally across from each other. Cross multiply those. The loaner is the 1. So even when the x is down low, up high, down low. So what am I doing? You guys are getting out your calculator right now. And what you're doing is I'm going to write this down, but you don't need to write down the word every time. Maybe this time. Cross multiply. You're going to actually type in 2 times by 12. Divide by the loaner, 3. You guys following? That solves this problem. Because the whole purpose of this is to, but you guys are getting it. Should be 8. Now I want to make sure you guys get 8. So type it in, and if you haven't agreed, you got to let me know. What I put in green is really all you need to write. Because I'm going to assume you guys are doing these in your head. You're not copying them. You're doing them from, so. I'm going to assume that you don't have to show your work on this type of equation, just to solve. Okay? Are you happy with that? Do you like showing your work? If you do, go ahead. I thought a lot. So what I did in black is what I typed. I only wrote it down so you know. So let me just see here. With this one, what am I going to type in my calculator? Don't be shy, give it a try. Tell me what. 2 times 8. They're diagonally across from each other. You're right. And then divide by 1. If you know that divide by 1 doesn't change anything, you don't have to. I'm going to write it down just because you can't go wrong. 2 times 8. Divide by what? Now, you can do these, I was just going to say. You can do these in your head, too. Use a calculator. I don't care if you're using 2 times 8 on the calculator. We're here to just do math. Hang on. When I say my videos aren't edited, you'll hear this announcement and stuff. If anybody got privacy concerns, don't say anything right now. If anybody has privacy, there's no video of you. But if you have privacy concerns, let me know because I'm recording. If you say something, it will be held against you. Record. Can't go record. So, that being said, you know that you're being recorded, voice. Okay. I'll try not to use names, but I do sometimes. Is anybody concerned about that? If I said, hey, or whatever, anybody worried about that? No. Okay. Be clear. Okay. So this other one, I want to know that you know how to identify which one's a cross multiply. This one you definitely use a calculator. I could do it without it. You don't need it. 45 times 7, 7 times 45, either order. Divide by 9. I'm going to write it down because somebody on video might be wondering here, but you guys are right. 7 times 45. 45 times 7 is the same thing. That doesn't matter, but the divide by does matter. It has to come out. Anyways, it's 35, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, do we know how to solve this? Do I need to go through this? I don't do a million examples. Just, if you remember, there's nothing worse than a math class where it's like, okay, today we're having a work class. Turn to page 88. You're 1 through 77. Every letter, A, B, C, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to give you guys too much fun. Sometimes I give it too little for something fun. You guys are adults, you're young adults, right? So if you need something more, tell me about it. We'll see what we can do. We're going to make this work. That's the whole point. Now, I copy and paste this out of another book. So this is read page 12. That's you know, we're just, I don't care about it. You don't either. We're going to set up equations. We're going to solve problems where we have that fraction equals fraction. It's called ratio. That's enough. Let's read this carefully, and I'll show you how to set it up, and we're going to use that kind of math to solve. Sandra has to administer 300 milligrams of a drug. It comes from a vial that has 120 milligrams, mgs, of the drug dissolved in 2 mL of fluid. This sounds like children's tongue or something like that. You know how you ever see like the little dropper thing? Yeah. And there's so many milligrams. You look at they have it done on a chart. If your child is lifting these pounds, you get 1 mil. You get 2 mils if they're 40 to 60 pounds. So. But if you were a nurse or something like this, they don't have different drugs. Right? You might have to figure this out. How many milliliters of fluid will she need to give her patient? Did she use this proportional reasoning to solve this problem? I'm going to guide you through it. Here's what I'm going to just draw the fraction equals fraction. We'll fill in the numbers. Now, here's what we're going to figure out. We have a couple of pieces of information. We know that she needs this 300 milligrams of the drug. I'm going to write down 300 milligrams. And I'm going to put the mg there so I know what I'm talking about. It's not milliliters, it's milligrams. I don't want to screw up and give somebody too much. They're all hepped up on who knows what this is. Find the J. Okay. You have to administer 300 milligrams of that drug. If the vial has, all she knows is that there's 120 milligrams if she gives 2 milliliters. So she could give 2 milliliters and say, okay, that's 120. Another 2 milliliters, okay, that's 240. Getting closer. And then, oh God, how do I get that last little bit? If I can guess. What do I want to guess? So, 39. So, 120 milligrams in 2 mL of fluid. That's in a 2 ml drop. We're going to put this, and this is why I put the mg on it. If I put milligrams on the top on this side, I want to put the milligrams on the top on the other side. So I'm going to put 120 milligrams here. And I know that there's 120 when I have 2 milliliters in the dropper. That's just from the sense. And actually, the trickiest part of this math is the reading. Really good readings. Because now, I want to find out how many milliliters I need to give that person to get 300 milligrams of the drug. Does the problem make sense? What I'm right? But you know what? We know how to solve this, right? Cross multiply, divide by the lower. No work needed. You just need to set up. I want you to set up what's in red and green. And then just say x equals. And it'll be in milliliters because milliliters here. So this has got to be milliliters on the bottom. So I know it seems like label your stuff. Well, there's a reason why. It's just to organize. So I'm going to write down type down 300 times 2 divide by 1 cross divide by 1. I'm guessing 5. Yeah. 600. 5. That's disappearing. That's not good. Don't use disappearing for new stuff. If you have a blank sheet, I'll give you 0. 5. No. Add. I don't need a sentence with every problem. If you label milliliters, don't just put 5. Circle your final answer. There's not that much work here that, like, if there's half a page of work, definitely circle what you want for this. If it's this, I can like cut down. Discuss this idea. There's nothing to discuss. We gotta disconnect. There you are. Got 24. You have a recipe that makes 2 dozen banana muffins. Why does it have chocolate chips? They're good. But that's rubbish. Garbage. You go to a bake sale and you're supposed to bring 36. Now, you can do this in your head. You say, oh, but what would you multiply your recipe by? You wouldn't double it because you don't want 48. You just want 36. Now, you might intuitively, like without doing math, just know, okay, everything on there. It says 5 cups, so I'm going to go with some cups. But what are you multiplying by? How do you adjust your recipe to make 36? You guys get the idea? Yeah. Well, same kind of thing though. I'm just thinking, well, I need a fraction system. Line equals line, fraction equals fraction. Then on that fraction system, I'm going to say, I have a recipe that makes 24 muffins. I'm going to just put an M for muffins, just so I know that muffins are on the top. And that's our recipe, so I'm going to put 1 here. And I'm going to put the letter R for recipe, just to organize my fraction. That's one system of information. 24 muffins from 1 recipe. That's why I have that on the same side. I want 36 muffins. Where am I going to put the muffins? 36 muffins, top to bottom. Top, because I have 24 muffins on the top of the left, I'm going to put 36. And as long as you put this on the correct side, the cross multiply thing is going to work. X. By the way, I make my X's curly. Why? Because if I do this, it looks like the time sign. I don't care if you use an X like a time sign, but I'm just explaining why I do it. Okay, cross multiply. 36 times 1 divided by 20. And it's going to tell me. Guess what? Something. Point something. Really? 1.44? Double check your calculator. It's 1.5. I'm going to put R for recipe. What does that mean? That means everything on your recipe, if it says 3 cups of sugar, I can put 3 times 1.5. I'll turn it to 4.5. However much oats or whatever, flour and stuff like that. I'm going to multiply everything by 1.5 to make doubling the recipe is easy, you know what I mean? Maybe 1.5, I should write it down. You add a cup of whiskey, you're using the wrong recipe.
Gentlemen, Cecil, Madison, Brentwell, Ty, and Merritt.
Not everyone may not. At least people. How about this? Use a chainsaw. You can't just use a chainsaw. You have to put oil in the mix the fuel. Skidoo. Mix the fuel, right? Well, okay, my skidoos I used to have mix. Some motors, like this boat motor too, requires that you mix 50-1. You're familiar with it. I'm just looking at you because I know you're familiar. Anybody else familiar with this kind of idea? You're familiar with it. Say lead on. There's all kinds of ways you can use this fraction system. So, typically, though, you do the same amount every time. Once you have it figured out, you probably have something written down and just remember exactly how much add for this much fuel. But the first time, somebody has to figure this out. Two-cycle boat motor requires you to mix your gasoline with oil, not just any oil. 50-1, 50 gas, 1 part oil. I'm going to make that into a fraction. I'm going to say 50 for the gas, and put G. So 1 part two-cycle oil. Now, I'm going to make it a really small oil, so you don't think it's a 10. That's a letter. 50 gas to 1 oil. And you know what? That kind of ratio works. If it's 50 gallons, you need 1 gallon of oil. If it's 50 liters, you need 1 liter of oil. Like, it doesn't matter what. 50 to 1. But here's the thing. It can't be that simple. Your tank is a 20-liter tank. If it was a 50-liter tank, I know exactly what to do. 1 liter of oil. 20 liters of gasoline. How much oil? Well, I know it's not going to be a full liter. But 20 liters of gas. I'm going to put this 20. I'm going to put the L for liters of gas here, just so I know what system. But the G. The G means I've got the gas on the top on the left, I've got the gas on the top on the right. This way I know I'm going to find the right thing, because I want oil and I have oil on the bottom. And the math is fairly easy because you're going to use a calculator, right? 20 times 1 divide by 3. Divide by 1. I'll leave.
Ivan Rodriguez K. Thanks so much.
That 20-liter tank, you're going to add in decimal core a liter. If you know the measure system, but whatever. You have some kind of measuring device. You measure up decimal core. Yeah. What other engines use oil? Anybody else? You know something else? Not many do. Chainsaws come to mind. I've always had to mix oil. And like I said, when I was a kid, we had to I'm so old that we travel anyway. Okay. So there's all kinds of ways of this. Well, I'm asking everyone to do, and then tomorrow we'll start on all different things. But this is the way every course needs to start, because you need to solve it. And this won't take you too long. You guys do these. Now, there's no words to these problems. They're already set up. So there's 6 questions. You can see sometimes I have blankets and bundles. You can just solve for the X. Right? All of those. Solve for those X's. We'll go over the answers together. And we should be just fine. I'm going to give you a little bit of time to do that. I'm going to check in next door. And I'm going to get everybody some work. Pause. Hope I was recording. Yeah. Okay. I'm resuming the recording because Hopefully, if you're watching the record, you've already done this. Now, on your calculator, what you entered, I hope, is 24 times 12 divided by 8. What is that? On your calculator, I hope you get 2 times 548 divided by the lower. 168 is what you divide by. That one, I don't know. What's that? 6.5? As far as rounding, was that one a perfect cut? If you round and it's money, keep 2 decimal places because like 38 cents or something like that. Just use common sense. I don't have any hard and fast rule, but use proper round. You know, if a number's behind 5, say that. Now this one, 60 times 28 divided by the lower, divided by 40. 42. Right? I'm trusting you guys. Everybody agrees? If you don't get that, we make mistakes, so you get time. And that's why I have pizza slices in my words. If 6 pizza slices feeds 2 people, how many pizza slices feed 21 people? It's really what bigger, right? 63. A lot of pizzas. A lot of pizza. That makes sense, though. 3 slices a person. Bundles. If there's 24 blankets and 8 bundles, there's 87 blankets. How many bundles? 29 bundles. See, I couldn't have done that in my head easily. That's why I need to tell you. I'm trusting you guys with your numbers, so don't give me the wrong numbers. This one's just solved for X. There's no words to it. 25 times 25 divided by 12. 52.0. So there was more digits after that? Yeah. Okay. I'm just calling 52. 52.0 is just fine, though, you know, like you said, decimals instead of. It makes sense to include 2 decimal places, because money definitely do that. Hey, and I'm going to pause the recording, and I'm going to be posting it up by the end of the day, but it takes a while for this to like render what the nerd words are for this. I don't know.